Okay, so what I have done is pull together the bits I've got left and get out a little journal. So this is a pink pig journal. I do love my pink pig journals. They're fabuloso. They have little pink pigs on the front, which always makes me smile. But I thought I'd do something which I don't often do in these, which is a double page spread, because then we can have a theme across 2 pages, which is always interesting. And I thought I'd go for using whatever I've got left, and possibly the stamps and some of the colours and things. But I'm not going to use all of this, but we've still got some of this left. And let's see how we end up. So to start off with, I'm just going to put some colour down on the page, because that's how I like to start a page. And I'm going to go slightly different colours this time. I'm going to put some yellow. I'm using the same colours, just I'm using them differently. And you'll see that because it is yellow, because it is smaller, it takes a lot less to cover the page, which is fine. And doing it across 2 pages just changes the way it looks as well. I'm going to put a little bit of the red on just to fill those in-betweeny bits. Now you can, with these books, actually take the pages out, but you can see I haven't, so I'm making a mess, but I don't care. This is my playground. My journals are my playground, so I just do as I feel I want to do on them. I am going to add water to this, and I'm going to do a little bit of getting some movement, because I do just love, particularly with oxides, I think they move beautifully. So this has actually been stuck together from another page. Let's get some drip effect. Going both ways. So we're starting to get a bit of an interesting background. I'm going to pop that to one side and do some colouring of the bits I've got left. So I'm going to stick with a similar theme, but I think I'm going to have more of a focus on red this time. So the last one was very sort of blues and yellows. There was some red, but I'm going to stick more to the red this time. So I'm just going to... This red is really weird because it looks, when you look at it in the bottle, it looks redder. But I'm going to mix it. So that's mixing Distress Oxide and Distress Ink. And then to get colour on here, I'm just going to steal some of what's on there, because it's going to do 2 things. It's going to make sure the colour's the same on both, but it's also going to add some little patches of interest as we're taking colour away. There we go. Right, because I've got other colours on my fingers, we are getting other colours there. So we've still got the 3 leafy bits, and we've still got the actual skeleton leaves. We've got this, we've got this, and we've got the stamp set. Oh, and we've got the road signs. Okay, right, I'm just going to blast this, dry it off, and dry the pages off, and then we'll see where we move from there. So these are now dried off, and I'm looking at this and thinking I want more vibrancy to the red in it, so I'm going to bring in some Distress Ink. So the vibrancy from the Distress Ink is going to be different from the vibrancy for the Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to take the page down like this and start adding in a brighter red, just in certain areas, kind of almost like edging it. Almost like it is, I'm edging it with red. And I'm thinking I also am going to use the red as the stamping colour. So I said before about the fact that when you mix the colours you start to get other colours, and that's one of the great things about colour mixing. You don't want it to end up as mud. We have got some darker areas here, but there's blues and purples and a hint of brown, and you get some beautiful colours just by playing with spraying different colours. And the other thing that I've noticed here, I'm hoping that you can see it, but there's actually lines on the centre where when I've sprayed they've been blocked, and I just think that looks really cool. Can you see that? Just on the card underneath. I do rather like that. Okay, get this the right way up. Yeah, that's the right way up. The reason I know it's the right way up is that the pink pigs are only at the front. Well, they're at one end and I choose to think of that as the front. Okay, now this has also come out a little bit dull, so I want to brighten that up as well. So let's add some more red onto that. Get it a little bit more vibrant, because that's the look that I want on this piece. So your Distress Oxides and your Distress Inks you can use together. I've seen quite a few people posting on Facebook groups recently about which would you choose. Would you choose the Distress Oxides? Would you choose the Distress Inks? And each of them has the place, and to be honest, I go through phases of using one and then using the other. If you like the chalky look, then definitely Distress Oxides. If you like a cleaner tone, go for the Distress Inks. Get a couple of colours in each and see which you prefer. Yeah, try not to get bogged down over which is better. They both do similar things in that they both react with water. They just have slightly different colour tones. And a good way of researching is also just have a look at what the videos Tim Holtz has put up. He has put hundreds of videos up. He was live every single week over the initial lockdown. And there are literally hundreds of videos of his showing the different products that he has. So just take a look at them. Highly recommend that, because he is rather good at explaining his stuff. Right, so I'm being brave now, because I've cut that, it's now got a raw edge, so I'm just going to tone it in with a little bit of red that's left on my brush. And in my head, these are going to go like this. So we're doing the same but different on the 2 pages. I'm thinking that maybe needs to be a little bit shorter, but I'm going to stick it down and then we can cut it off afterwards. So we're getting straight into the sticking down on this one. No messing. Stick it on. I'm so pleased I've got a new bottle of Cosmic Shimmer. I love other glues as well, but Cosmic Shimmer was the first decent bottle of glue I ever owned, so I kind of feel a little bit of loyalty to them. I do like my tonic as well, and I love my gel mediums. I've got several different gel mediums and I love them. Those scissors are way too big. Right, we'll use these ones, a bit smaller. Oh, that was very messily done. Let's see, does that one's fine. Okay, now before I add anything else, I want to add on some of the stamps. I love the thumbprint. I'm going to have to add that on just because I love the idea of a thumbprint on a background, on anything basically. So I'm going to do it in black. I'm thinking I want it here, so we want it right up in that corner. One day I'll learn and just do it automatically. I tend to kind of do it trial and error about, oh dear, I need to move my stamp. And I'm not being at all precious about bits missing. And I'm treating it across the 2 pages, that's 3 across 2 pages, if you think about the rule of 3s and the concept of confusing the eye into not making a decision as to what it wants to look at, because there's 3 there instead of just 2. I'm just looking, there is actually, at the bottom of the thumb, I've just realised I hadn't noticed this. I don't know if you can see, there's some writing just at the bottom there. It actually says, "Tell the wolves I'm home." So I wonder where that comes from. I wonder if that's a literary reference. I don't know the answer, but it's interesting to know that that's there. Okay, I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to use it with a different colour. Where's my blue gone? There's my blue. we'll use the Mermaid Lagoon. And it's just, again, adding a little bit of something. Yeah, move it across, because then it'll fit on more easily. You know what would work even better? If you did it like that, Angela. Genius! I'm not. I invented a word a few years back called geniosity. When I was out with my son and one of his mates, we started talking about having geniosity, and it's kind of stuck. It's a word that we use quite a lot. So these do have words on them, but I'm using them very much in the background. I'm not using it as a sentiment. But if you want to know what it says you may see me struggle, but you won't see me fall. Regardless if I'm weak or not, I am going to stand tall. So some really interesting sentiments on these stamps. I love them. Don't use them anywhere near as often as I should, but I think that's something to do with the fact I've got a humongous collection of stamps. Way more than you should ever admit to owning. Right, I'm going to use this lovely flag. Bunting, that's the word again, but I'm going to use it with yellow, so it's going to be very much in the background. And sometimes you look at bits that you add on and you think, well, actually that's not doing anything, but it is. It's adding texture and intricacy to what you're making. So don't ever be afraid of doing something in a pale colour. So you can barely see that, but it is there. There's just a hint of it. So it just adds some interest. And the next one I'm going to actually stamp on top of the red piece of card. See how that comes out. There we go. So you can see that more, but it's actually right the way across the page. You can just see it at different levels. Oh, I like it. Okay, let's see where we're going to put the bits that we've got. So one of these bits has ended up gaining a little bit of blue on it from when we were splatting. That's fine, we can cope with that. We can have these. Yeah, I quite fancy that covering that. Yeah, that covers too much of it. We'll have that one there. We'll have that one there, I think. And then this I'm going to put coming down here. I don't know why I want it coming down, but I feel like that's what it needs. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth now, I really dislike skeleton leaves. I just thought these would be an interesting challenge, and they're proving a challenge for me because I don't like them. I don't know why, I just don't. So I don't think I'm going to use all of them. So I've used the red, I've used the green, the yellow, sorry, I'll now use the blue because these are green. There we are. Oh, I think that looks alright actually. Yeah, I like that. Right, stick them down, Angela. Just do it. Right, I'm going to rely on the fact that the skeleton leaves have gaps in them, and I'm going to see if this will work. It may and it may not. So we're going to put that at the base of the fingerprint, thumbprint, and hope that that will go through the skeleton leaf because they have holes in them, rather than adding extra glue that you then see through the skeleton leaf. Because I'm putting something over the top of it, I can hide the stickiness like so. And also having the leaf loose at the top gives a little bit more movement to your work, which is always interesting. So you'll see I have covered quite a lot of this thumbprint, but you can still see it's there. You can still see it in the background. So I don't ever have a problem covering things over, because it just makes it all more interesting and more deep. I need to spread it out first, Angela. So if I just put that straight in, it would have just swamped over the top. But if you spread it out first, you have the chance to just get the glue where you actually want it. And then we'll pop this going down here. So this is a bit of a weird page, but I do really, really like it. I don't know why, I just do. I'm thinking that I do want that word faith again. There's something quite satisfying about that word. Where am I going to put it? The right way up would be helpful, wouldn't it? Faith, we'll put it there. And we'll do it in black, because we want that to actually stand out and be legible. I'm going to put another stamp on here as a balance again. I think that's one of the best things that I learnt very early on, was about having a counterbalance if you're using a smaller stamp. Faith. I'm going to put it just on both pages to make it more cohesive. I'll have to move it over for that one. You didn't think that one through. The reason that I keep re-inking after doing that is because I take half the ink off with my finger. So you want to make sure you actually have ink on. I'll pop that there. You know what, I'm quite happy with that. I'm not going to add any of the other paper, and I'm not going to add any of the road signs, because I actually really like the way that that just looks a little bit odd. What I would choose to do if this wasn't part of a challenge, oops, I just realised I've managed to put black ink all over that, is I would go around with a black pen and put a proper frame round. But obviously I can't do that because I haven't got a black pen in my challenge kit, which is fine. But I will just edge the pages with my black ink. Yes, I have spotted that's come off. I've knocked it with my finger. Let's stick that back on. So that's one thing, is make sure your stuff's actually dry before you start handling it. So I'm not going to worry about the fact that this has got a line on it. It's fine. It's a page in my book. It looks okay. But I would come in and put some white lines on here and stuff, but I haven't got that option. So there you have it. That is the second challenge. So I used, basically it was using up the bits that were left. So I've done that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please go over and see what Dawn's done with hers, Shiny Silver Treasures. I will put a link down below, and I hope you found that interesting and enjoyable. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you again. Bye for now.